The 2025 Boston Marathon. Now, Boston is the classic race to me. It's the classic course and the classic and oldest race in the world majors. In fact, it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, continually run marathon in the world. It's that out and back course, starts in the countryside, ends in the city, is a lot of downhill at the start, and has a couple key uphills at the end, which will hit you if you're not prepared for them. And typically Boston is a battle with the weather, though this year racers got around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius conditions, a minor wind, lots of sun, no chance of rain, nearly ideal conditions. So I still think a lot of people consider those temperatures a little warm for racing, but the weather played nice this year and allowed John Korir and Sharon Lokedi to win respectively the men's and women's races. So congratulations to them. And even though I talk about shoes here on this channel, can't take it away from the athletes. Ultimately, the athletes' training is where they actually perform so well in these races. The shoes are adding a little polish on top of that, but it's not actually the shoes that are winning the races, it's the athletes. Though on this channel, I talk about shoes. And starting with the Asics Metaspeed Sky 4, that's what John Korir won the race in. It seems like a shoe that's nearly ready to go, though what I'm hearing is Asics is tweaking the geometry and the fit of the shoe a little bit and the foam a little bit. Now, it sounds like overall this shoe will be a significant upgrade to last year's Metaspeed Paris series, which was a significant upgrade to the Metaspeed Plus series prior to that. It just seems like a shoe that is going to be outstanding when it actually releases. Now, when it releases is unknown, though I would expect it sometime in early September in the run-up to the World Championships, which are in Tokyo this year. That seems like kind of a no-brainer for Asics to launch it around that. That will also have it ready for Berlin, which will be towards the end of the World Championships, and ready for the fall marathon racing season. It just seems like a shoe that's ready to go. It seems, again, like a big upgrade to last year's Metaspeed Paris series, and I cannot wait to get a pair to actually test on this channel. Moving to Adidas, we saw the official debut, at least at the World Majors, of the Evo 2, though technically the shoe did debut a couple weeks ago at the Berlin Half Marathon. It won on the women's side, and it looks like it is a substantial change and update to the Evo 1. Across the Adidas Elites field, both men's and women's, I would say it was pretty much 50-50 Evo 1s and Adios Pro 4s. If anything, I saw a few more Adios Pro 4s than I did Evo 1s, and there were two pairs of Evo 2s on Simbu and Kotut's feet, who actually finished second and third in the race. Now, the Evo 2 looks quite interesting. As you can see here, it's a substantial change to the Evo 1. It's unknown right now what foam is in this shoe. Adidas is calling it Lightstrike Pro Evo, but this is a development shoe. It could be anything. I would suspect it's probably not the same foam that was in the Evo 1. Adidas is pushing things further. What's also really interesting is if you look at the outsole on this shoe, it is still the liquid rubber. It's not the new light traction CPU outsole, but also we're seeing the Adidas Elites race in this outsole. There isn't a V2 with Continental rubber like we saw in the Evo 1. It's just this shoe. This is what we're seeing them race in. So that's quite interesting. The other thing I'm going to say is this shoe briefly appeared on Adidas Singapore's website a couple weeks ago for a price of 450 British pounds, which is about $600 USD. We'll see about that. There's no doubt this will be an expensive shoe, at least the same cost as the Evo 1, but maybe it's going to be a little bit more. We don't really know. As far as release of this shoe, again, the Evo is a development platform for them. However, I think we will see the same thing that we saw with the Evo 1, and we probably will see the official debut of the Evo 2 in time in the run-up for Berlin later this year in the fall. That just seems like the absolute no-brainer for Adidas to release sort of their big elite level shoe at that race, just like they did with the Evo 1 back in 2023. However, it won't be such a big surprise this year because we've already been seeing it. So this shoe's coming. It's going to be new geometries, probably a new foam. It should have the same fit as the Adios Pro 4, which is wonderful. Though the upper looks like a refinement on the Evo 1. It's that really sort of mesh, open mesh, very light, very fragile looking upper material that was on the Evo 1, but it seems like they're pushing it even further this year. So will be interesting to see this shoe release, and we'll be getting more details about it throughout the summer as the development prototypes tweak. There have been specs launched for the one that showed up on Adidas Singapore, but I would suspect this shoe is still changing. So we will see what the specs actually are in the fall. And moving to Under Armour, something I didn't expect to say, Sharon Lokedi won the women's side in the development release of the Velociti Elite 3. Now, this shoe does have some significant changes. It's using HTPU foam, a beaded HTPU foam, which seems very similar to a foam that's in a couple of other Under Armour's performance shoes, and similar to what's actually in Speedland's trail shoes and trail racing shoes. Speedland's developers come from Under Armour, so there's a lot of connections between those two brands, and there's actually some collabs where I think they're using this same foam. Though supposedly in the Elite 3, it's supposed to be lighter and more resilient. We'll see about that. The shoe is spec'd around 37 in the forefoot, 39 in the heel, giving you a 2 mm drop. That's going to catch a lot of people off guard. 7.7 ounces, or about 218 grams in the US men's 9 reference size that everyone uses. And it's releasing sometime in 2026, though Sharon Lokedi's been developing this shoe with Under Armour since last fall. We saw her debut it in New York City last year. So we'll see how this shoe develops. If you're an Under Armour fan, this is the next generation of their super shoe. And it seems like it has some significant changes. Oh yeah, one other thing. It actually has an outsole on it now. It's not using the Flow foam outsole, which was exposed foam. That should help considerably with durability on this shoe over the last generation. And a quick reference to On and Hellen Obiri. She was in just the standard Cloudboom Strike LS, a new colorway, but one that we've seen since all of the hype last year. But Hellen Obiri could really do well in anything. Her form never looks smooth, never looks comfortable, but she is fast. And it almost seems like Boston is like her course now. It seems like she's specializing in Boston. So she's going to do well in really any shoe. It's interesting to see that On really didn't pull anything out new for this race and for her real focus on this race. But I'm sure there'll be things to come from On in the coming months. And mentioning Nike real quick, Boston's never a race where you see a lot of Nike runners. NN Running is usually the team that brings the most Nike runners, and this year they brought a handful of them. Boston's just never a place where you see a big Nike presence. The Alphafly 3 seems to be still the dominant shoe across Nike runners, though I did still see 1 or 2 Vaporfly 3s, and I did see more Vaporfly 4s on the course in both the men's and women's side, though not at the global elite level. I didn't see any Vaporfly 2s anymore. Connor Mance got 4th, just behind 2nd and 3rd. Really 4 seconds. He got a PB in just stock pair of Proto Colorway Alphafly 3s. So again, congratulations to Connor Mance. Nike was there, but at Boston, you can never expect like huge things from Nike. And ending on what was the biggest hyped shoe of the weekend, and really since the On Cloudboom Strike LS last year, the Puma Fast R Nitro Elite 3. This shoe was so incredibly hyped by run media, run influencers, and really everyone possible online in the run-up to the Boston Marathon. If you believed all the hype and you believed the study that came out that Puma published on it that says it's 3.15% more efficient than any other super shoe across any brand prior to that, you would expect this shoe to have won everything. And I was kind of expecting this shoe to cause another blackout era for running. And if you weren't around maybe 5-6 years ago, 2019, end of 2019, early 2020, when we would see sponsored runners from brands like Saucony, Brooks, and really everyone racing in Vaporflies, but they would black them out, spray paint them black, or they'd turn them into Saucony or Brooks Vaporflies, put the logo on them. I was expecting to see that from racers if the Fastar Nitro Elite V3 is that good. It got a top 10 in the men's and women's side. That's great, but it seems like it isn't all that. It was also at Boston, Puma had probably their best representation that we'll see at really any race all year. So not a horrible shoe, but definitely not the second coming like Run Media and Run Influencers seem to make you want to think it was. I'm actually going to do a technical video on this, a design analysis, a short one, but there are a couple things that I want to talk about with this shoe, and there's a couple things that are kind of interesting about it, but as it stands right now, I don't really have a ton of interest in running in it, though I do want to cover it from a technical standpoint. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you find this content useful, consider subscribing. You'll see more content from me pop up in your feed. If not, drop a like on this video because it helps this channel continue to grow, which I always appreciate. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.